I am Daniel Adam Fink, the Torah teacher. Torah is the Bible and related traditions. In this video, I will be explaining Yakëtan and the B'nai Yakëtan, the children of Yakëtan, the Kahtanites of Yemen. Genesis 10, the Table of Nations, is the most interesting chapter of the entire Bible for geography. These names are repeated again in the very first chapter of Chronicles, which is like a summary and a commentary on the earlier parts of the Bible. It's very likely that you are unfamiliar with Yakëtan, which is Kahtanites of Yemen, their names and their locations. This makes a perfect example of how you can understand the exact names, relationships, identities, and locations of names in the Bible. Genesis 10:26 through 30, and Yakëtan begot Almodad, not Almodad, as is explained in the resource McClintock and Strong's Biblical Cyclopedia, which we will get to later. There are scribal errors in the Bible. Almodad being named for the prominent tribe in the entire history of Yemen, and Sheleph and Hazarmaveth and Jerah, and Hadoram and Uzal and Diklah, and Obal in Genesis 10, which is mistakenly spelled Abal in Chronicles. Scribal errors happen in the Bible. We will get deeper into that phenomenon later in the presentation. And Abimael and Sheba, and Ophir and Havilah and Jobab. All these were the sons of Yakëtan, and their dwelling was from Mashah as you go towards Ophir mountain of the east. Right at this second, that may all sound Greek to you, but as we go on, you will have complete understanding of biblical Yakëtan. Here we have the complete map. Over the next few slides, I'm going to show you 1 through 13 and the boundaries, so you can get an idea of their organization as they are listed in the Bible and as they are physically located in Yemen. First, in the red, the kingdom, now a province of Almodad. Orange, the province of Sheleph. Yellow, the province of Hazarmaveth. Green, the province of Jerah. Blue, the province of Hadoram. Here's where something amazing happens. The next 5 names are cities in these provinces circling exactly back as they came. Uzal, known as the city of Sana'a, capital today, chief city of Hadoram. The city of Diklah, chief city of Jerah. Obal, the chief city of the province Hazarmaveth. Abimael, the chief city of Sheleph province. Sheba, this is biblical Sheba, the province called today as Saba. This is because the letter Shin was pronounced like Sanskrit. Between sh and s is a s, like Sri Lanka sound. Sheba, capital of Almodad, the first name, the first tribe of Yemen, and the first capital city, city of Marib. Ophir, this is the city, the province, and the gold source, Ophir. Ophir, the legendary source of the gold of the Queen of Sheba. Here we have vast Havilah, and you are going to love the explanation of Havilah coming at the end of this presentation. Yobar, home of the Yobaratai and the legendary lost city Obal. The western boundary of Yakëtan in the Bible is Mashah, known as Muka, Mocha, That is the coffee source, where the coffee trade in human history began, where we get the name mocha. Yakëtan is a place of trade. In the east, on the far right side, Safar, next to Yobar, is the mountain range with a port. Yobar and Safar is where frankincense was imported to Arabia, West Asia, and beyond, North Africa, Europe, and all of those places. So the ships would land. Then the spice routes would bring these spices and exchange goods to and from locations such as Petra, Phoenicia, Philistia, and beyond. Now that we are excited, we have seen the names go 1 through 5 around the horn, then 6 through 10 back again, 11, 12, 13 across the perimeter. We are looking for evidence to prove that this is indeed accurate. The only way you can solve any logic puzzle in geography is to start with your known givens. The givens, Yakëtan has been known as Kahtanites of Yemen. Mesha has been known as Mocha, the port where coffee name originates, and Safar on the eastern border. So we go from the Red Sea to the ends of the world of the Kahtanite trade. Safar has been known as the Zafar mountain range. Beyond there is vast desert. Hazarmaveth has been known as Hazarmaveth. Uzal has been known as Sana'a, the modern capital of Yemen, and Sheba has been known as Marib, the first capital of Yemen, biblical Sheba. So here we have 5 locations only within Yakëtan, leaving 10 remaining. And that sounds small because it's only 1/3. But knowing the locations of number 3, 6, and 10, we then research to find the other numbers and to reveal the precise order, how it made sense to my ancient Hebrew cousins, and how it makes sense today in the most amazing way. Setting up the explanation, I have shown 3 different maps. I am avoiding the phenomenon which is called lying with maps. Lying with maps is when you select whatever map serves your purpose to prove a point which may or may not be true. That's why I'm showing 3 maps. So between them we see there are 6 provinces and 6 cities, as well as known boundaries of biblical era ancient Yemen. And so now we are establishing which ones we already know and which ones we have to locate. The Torah scrolls were written by scribes by hand, translated many times. Sometimes the scrolls were lost and destroyed and people had to recreate them. In that process, names have been mistaken. For example, we have Resh and Dalet. At the bottom right, you can see they're very similar. What's the difference? Is it a millimeter? Is it 2 millimeters? It's a very slight difference. Bottom left, Waw and Yod. What's the difference? The difference is whether or not you wrote, that is, the scribe, wrote the stem long or short. If you have a stem that's short on a Waw, the next person who reads it transcribes it as a Yod. You now have examples where in the same Bible, and you can see them yourself, just compare Genesis 10 and Chronicles 1. So, at the top we have, and Yakëtan begot Almodad. Morad being the Morad tribe, the namesake of the prominent mountain next to the prominent city at the very heart of Yemen, the founding city and the founding group, and the mountain and the district. Next we go to 28, the 3rd line down, and Obal. And as you can see in Chronicles 22, the Waw was written as a Yod, We have people looking for Ebal or Abal, although this one bibliologists have already identified as a scribal error, that is, Obal. Next we'll go to the middle set of names, the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphat, and Togarmah. In Chronicles, the error is Ashkenaz and Diphat and Togarmah. Diphat has no meaning. It's an error. Riphat is one of the most important meanings, arguably the very most important meaning in the entire Bible, which we will get to in another presentation. The very next line in Genesis 10 and in Chronicles, and the sons of Yawan, Elisha and Tarshish and Kittim and Dodanim, and in Chronicles it's Rodanim. So you have Dodanim. What would that mean? These are the Hellenistic Greek people, so Dodanim, the Dodecanese. If you were to ask a migratory tradesperson, where did you purchase a good from? It came from the Rodanim, the people of Rhodes. Dodanim would be the people of the Dodecanese. If you were to identify Dodecanese, you would say those are the islands surrounding Rhodes. If you were to identify Rhodes, you would never call it one of the Dodecanese islands. You would say it's the chief island, the great island at the southeast corner of the Aegean next to Anatolia. This is what helps to identify errors. And once you see that you have Almodad, Riphat, and Rodanim are correct, Almodad, which has no meaning, Diphat, which has no meaning, and Dodanim, you realize this is a repeat scribal error. And now we will continue with Almodad. Here we have the virtue of regarding the obvious and not ignoring the obvious. So, Marib is the founding capital of Kahtanite Yemen, Yakëtan, Murad being named by none other than Muhammad as chief and prominent amongst the Kahtanite tribes. We have these locations, Sheba, the ancient capital, as you can see on Google Maps on the right, historical Marib, Sheba city, Marib, Great Dam of Marib, and the throne of the Queen of Sheba, all being Marib. So we have the capital city, we have the founding group of people, and down at the bottom of that map, Jabal Murad. To the left, we have tribes of Marib, which is the city Sheba. Then we have the Murad tribe, Jabal Murad district, the mountain Murad. Almodad, as is named in Biblical Cyclopedia as the correct identity of the very first name, and Sheba being the great city in Yemen, come together. So we're going to regard what is obvious, and everything is always going to make the most sense. Whatever is the simplest, most obvious explanation is always the correct explanation in the Bible. Each slide will look very busy from here on. There is so much evidence, it's difficult to choose which to include and which to exclude. Proving Yakëtan and proving the names in the Bible is like proving that a tree is a plant. It's easy to do, it's just difficult to figure out where you should begin, where you should end, and what you should include. In green on the right, every time you see green, that will be the amazing resource, McClintock and Strong's Biblical Cyclopedia. We see the explanation historically of Almodad truly being Almodad, which it is. The Murad tribe is among the oldest and most prominent in the history of Yakëtan. They were located in the dead center of Yemen, where the culture was founded, in the exact location next to the exact founding city. And the rest of Yakëtan radiates out from the area where is the Murad tribe, Jabal Murad. This is biblical Almodad. Here we have two articles taken from Wikipedia. You can always look to the bottom on a Wikipedia page to find the sources, it's extremely crucial that I do not for this reason. The automatic resistance to Wikipedia is to debunk what it says. This is not going to be useful in this case. I'm using Wikipedia articles on this slide for the specific purpose of showing how obvious this explanation of Hadoram is. On the right, we have the article on Hadoram with a suggestion that in Kaset HaSofer, that source, some interpret Hadoram as denoting the south. This was a fortress to the south of Yemen's Sana'a. It is next to Sana'a, but that doesn't lead strongly in a direction. Here's what does. On the left, the highest peak in Arabia is Mount Hador. Ram is high, height. Even if it was a locational suffix, which Am often is, it would be the place of Hador. This means the height of Hador. So, the highest peak in all of Arabia, as it says in the article, it is one of the most prominent peaks in the world, the third most prominent peak in the Middle East, and it is the high mountain of Arabia, is Hador. So Hadoram is the backbone of Yemen. That is the meaning of Hadoram. Here we have the most classic example of the names in Yakëtan in Kahtanites, Yemen. We're going to see a very clear relationship, a correlation, and it repeats. We have two names, Diklah and Jerah. Diklah for the prominent tribe of this kingdom, the Himyar kingdom, and Jerah, the moon god, which is the namesake of Jericho. Jericho is Jerah, and this is Jerah. So we have a repeat of moon gods, which we will see more on the next slide. Diklah is the Diklah people, Jerah being the moon god of Himyar. Kahtaban was the ancient kingdom, with its capital located at Timnah. At times, this was the dominant kingdom of all of Yemen, and the people regarded themselves as the Banu Am, the children of Am. Am is the moon god, which is the namesake of Amman, the city-state of Amman, and the Banu Am. There were etchings and graffiti and carvings all around this place. Children of Am is my father, things like that. So the name Abimael means my father is God. Up until now, it was regarded as a somewhat garbled grammar saying my father is God. This really is my father is God, which is, as I have said, and is worth repeating, stated and carved all over this vicinity. So we had Jerah moon god, we have Am moon god, and we have Obal moon god, the god of Sheba and Hazarmaveth. And as you can see down below, Howell was a moon god. Obal is a moon god. That's Obal, the moon god of Sheba, Hazarmaveth. So we have three moon gods, three adjacent kingdoms, three cities. And now we wrap up the first 10 B'nai Yakëtan. Here we are rounding out the first 10, the kingdoms, now provinces there, and the capital cities back again. So we have the kingdom of Kahtaban. To the west was Himyar, to the east was Hazarmaveth, Hadramaut. At different times, these kingdoms had risen to dominate all of Yemen. And so we see Sheleph being named on the right in McClintock and Strong's Biblical Encyclopedia as related to the Diklah family, the dominant family of Himyar. and as helping to build the port of Canaan to the east in Hazarmaveth, where goods such as frankincense were imported. And now we just have the last three remaining names, and we have a complete picture of Yakëtan. Ophir is enjoyable, it's fun, it's where the gold comes from. Top left, Encyclopedia Britannica, Ophir, unidentified region. It was. Famous in Old Testament times for its fine gold, the geographic list of Genesis 10 apparently places it in Arabia. It is. But in the time of Solomon, Ophir was thought of as being overseas. The gold source is in the same place today. Look to the right. Instead of searching for gold coming from very, very far away Africa, all you have to do is look for the gold sources in Yemen. We have an article showing the gold sources, and if you look at the list, the very first four gold sources listed in all of Yemen are in Yaf Governorate. Yaf is Ophir. To the right center, we have the actual map location of ancient mining camp in Yemen. This is the gold of the Queen of Sheba. Ophir, Ophira, is now called Yaf. So in thousands of years, Oph, the name of this location, has remained the same, simply with a shift from biblical Hebrew to modern Arabic. Here we have the penultimate name, and it's fascinating. Jobab, as suggested in McClintock and Strong's Biblical Encyclopedia, as agreed upon by, you have sources they compare Ptolemy, the best source of ancient history, Yobaratai, agreed upon by Bocart. Then we have on the right, interview with Dr. Joris Zarins. Have you been back to Shisor since the time of our filming? And they have found Ubar. As the archaeologist says, Ubar refers to a region, a group of people, not to a specific town. People always overlook that. It's very clear on Ptolemy's 2nd century map of the area. It says in big letters, Yobaritai. Those are the land of Yobar Ubar, called in the Bible Jobab. The Yobaritai and the Ubarites became romanticized later, but it's a very real place. It's amazing how very real names in the Bible are. You can see them on Google Maps, the lost city of Wubar and the city of Perdita Ubar. And that is where the Yobaritai are from. And this was the bastion of the frankincense trade, leaving only one name remaining. It's like looking for hay in a haystack. At the bottom center of the map on the left is a satellite image, and we have the word Yakëtan over Yemen. Havilah means sandy place. There's no arguing Havilah, the sandy place. But at this point, there's no point in arguing. We can only do something with the knowledge if we do something with the knowledge. I have shared this knowledge with you. It is now time to blaze forward and achieve with the knowledge which we now have. There is something regarding Yakëtan in relation to everyone that goes far beyond the Bible. This is a much more related issue than you realize, which I can't wait to explain. The relationship of Yakëtan to the Bible goes beyond Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Druze, and that's billions of people. But there's a even deeper relationship which has something to do with you, has something to do with everyone, which I can't wait to explain. My name is Daniel Adam Fink. I'm looking forward to explaining Torah to you.